Voice of Vietnam.
This is the Voice of Vietnam, broadcasting from Hanoi, capital of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam.
Hello and welcome to the Voice of Vietnam. I'm Hung Nguyen. On today's show after the news. In current affairs, we'll shed light on innovative changes that the Vietnam Trade Union Congress set for the new term. Our letterbox acknowledges the letter and email that listeners sent us during the week. But first, here's the news.
In the news headlines, top leader Tô Lâm urges strong reform of the party's leadership method. Ninh Bình promotes its stone inscriptions for UNESCO recognition. And the UN warns of unprecedented gap in global food aid. Now the news in detail. It's important now to strongly reform the party's leadership method because the capacity of organization and implementation is a major bottleneck in many levels, sectors and localities and needs to be addressed, Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm said on Wednesday. The top leader chaired a working session in Hanoi with the party Central Committee's Organization Commission on the key tasks of party building and organization in line with the resolution of the 14th National Congress of the Communist Party of Vietnam.
Công tác cán bộ là then chốt của then chốt. Muốn có bộ máy mạnh phải có cán bộ mạnh. Muốn có nghị
Personnel work is the key of keys. To have a strong apparatus, we must have strong cadres. To have resolution implemented, we need people with sufficient willpower, capacity, responsibility, and prestige. In the new era, cadres not only need firm political resolve, impeccable moral character, and exemplary lifestyle, but also strategic thinking, modern management, digital transformation, capabilities, organizational implementation, problem-solving abilities, the ability to dialogue with the people, and the spirit of daring to think, daring to act, and daring to take responsibility for the common good.
General Secretary and President Lâm emphasized the importance of controlling power, tightening discipline, combating corruption, waste, negative practices, and stagnation. Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm on Wednesday emphasized the overarching principle that people are the center, culture is the foundation, and the law and discipline are the pillars. The top leader worked with the Central Public Security Party Committee and relevant agencies in Hanoi on a project to build an orderly, disciplined, safe, healthy, civilized, harmonious, and developed society. In his concluding remarks, the General Secretary and President Lâm said, building a civilized socialist society means, first and foremost, building Vietnamese people of the new era who have ideas, character, culture, civic consciousness, and a sense of responsibility and the ability to adapt to the current society.
Mọi chủ trương chính sách phải hướng tới bảo vệ con người, nâng cao cái chất lượng cuộc sống.
All guidelines and policy must aim to protect people, improving the quality of life, ensuring that all citizens live safely, healthily, and humanely, have opportunity for development, and fairly enjoy the fruit of development. Economic development must go hand in hand with social progress and equity. No one should be left behind.
Prime Minister Lê Minh Hưng on Wednesday directed coordinated solutions to boost growth, maintain macroeconomic stability, improve institutions, disperse public investment, develop science and technology, innovation and digital transformation, and strive to achieve the double-digit growth goal. Prime Minister Hưng chairs the regular government meeting for May 2026 in Hanoi.
Chúng ta phải chi tiết hơn nữa và dự báo từng trường hợp cụ thể.
We must be more detailed and forecast each specific case, industry, field, and economic region. In case of fluctuation, we will apply solution on monetary policy, budget, industrial development, agriculture, trade and services to set up a buffer against external impact and cushion shocks.
Assigning specific tasks to ministries and sectors, the Prime Minister requested the State Bank to flexibly manage interest rates, exchange rates, and credit growth to strictly control total means of payment and avoid creating pressure on the price level. The Ministry of Finance was urged to operate fiscal policy towards reasonable and focused expansion, while localities focus on resolving site clearance, compensation, support, and resettlement rights after the investment policy is approved. The Ninh People's Committee held an international seminar on Wednesday called Journey to the UNESCO Documentary Heritage, Stone Inscriptions on Non Nước Mountain. Non Nước Mountain in Hoa Luot, Ninh Bình Province, known as the Museum of Poetry, has 43 rock inscriptions, which include poems and stories carved into the cliff by kings, princes, generals, and poets from the 14th to the 20th century. Đặng Thanh Sơn, Vice Chairman of the Ninh Bình Provincial People's Committee, said,
Hệ thống bia mai nhai trên núi Non Nước là nguồn tư liệu quý, có giá trị đa diện.
The rock inscription on Non Nước Mountain are a valuable source of information, possessing multifaceted value as a unique museum of scholarly literature, reflecting the political, cultural, ideological, and social life of different historical period over nearly 7 centuries, from 1343 to the present day. Its enduring value lies in its ability to connect the past with the present, helping future generations better understand the journey and legacy of their ancestors.
The seminar aimed to strengthen the dossier documenting the stone inscriptions on Non Nước Mountain to ensure it meets the highest academic standard. Jonathan Becker, UNESCO representative to Vietnam, said,
They also provide valuable historical evidence, helping to reconstruct networks of intellectual life and offering insights into the evolution of Sino-Nom literature and education in Vietnam. In this context, Ninh Binh Province's vision for heritage offers a particularly inspiring perspective. As a place where natural landscapes, cultural expressions, and living traditions are deeply intertwined, Ninh Binh exemplifies a forward-looking approach.
Delegates at the 14th Congress of the Vietnam Trade Union on Wednesday discussed policies to care for and protect the legitimate rights and interests of workers, develop union membership, establish grassroots trade unions, and comprehensively reform trade union finances. Participants proposed the early issuance of an action program and evaluation criteria for implementing the party's resolution on strengthening the party's leadership over communication, political and ideological education, and legal education for workers in the new context. Đặng Thị Kim Chung, Vice President of the Quảng Ninh Provincial Federation of Labor, said,
Trade unions at all levels need to renew their mindset and method to actively participate in lawmaking process. We should conduct research and engage right from the initial stages of drafting policy documents for more effective outcomes. It's necessary to strengthen forecasting and research capability while organizing more direct dialogues among workers, grassroots trade unions, and state management agencies so that we can forward practical and objective recommendation. And now for the world news. The United Nations warned on Tuesday that dramatic funding cuts for aid at a time of multiple crises have left tens of millions going hungry. Quote-unquote, the gaps are unprecedented. Rania Dagash Kamara, the UN World Food Programme Assistant Executive Director for Partnership and Innovation, told reporters in Geneva. The WFP is facing a 75% shortfall in its funding, with dire and deadly consequences. Quote, country by country, we are making brutal choices about who to reach, unquote, she said. While there has been much focus on U.S. cut, Washington remained the WFP top donor. While the biggest shock to the system has been, quote-unquote, the collective European pullback and cut, she said. Dagash Kamara stressed that cuts are being made to life-saving work at a time when multiple famines are looming. Malnutrition clinics are closing as many countries decided to pull out the support. The World Health Organization, WHO, and the European Union have strengthened cooperation to enhance responses to ongoing Ebola outbreaks in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Uganda. Through the European Union support, WHO is scaling up coordinated action on surveillance, infection prevention and control, community engagement, and continuity of essential health services in close cooperation with national authority and partners. The EU is allocating 15 million euros, of which 5 million euros is earmarked for WHO in humanitarian funding to support emergency operation in the affected areas, as well as preparedness and prevention effort also in countries neighboring the DRC and Uganda. In addition, The EU launched its humanitarian air bridge operation to deliver 100 tons of emergency supply to Eastern DRC, including medicine, protective equipment, infection control material, tents, and operational equipment for frontline teams.
To end the news, here are the headlines once again. Top leader Tô Lâm urges strong reform on the party's leadership method. Ninh province promotes its stone inscription for UNESCO recognition. And the UN warns of unprecedented gap in global food aid. That's the news on VOV. You're listening to the Voice of Vietnam, and here's the current affairs. The 14th Congress of the Vietnam Trade Union for the 2026-2031 term will take place from Wednesday to Friday in Hanoi with the theme Solidarity, Democracy, Discipline, Innovation, Development. The Congress marks a fundamental shift in the organization's operation from traditional care and protection to digital transformation, productivity enhancement, and building a grassroots-oriented organization. A revised Article 10 of the 2013 Constitution, which took effect on June 16, 2025, says, quote unquote, the Vietnam Trade Union is the sole representative of workers at the national level in labor relations and international trade union relations. This legal status elevates the trade union's role and creates an urgent need for reform to meet the demands of global integration. As Vietnam enters a new stage of development, the trade union faces unprecedented demand from a changed labor structure, a growing number of workers in the private and informal sectors, automation, artificial intelligence, and digital transformation, which are having profound impacts on employment, income, and workers' professional skills. Labor relations are operating under an improved market-based mechanism. The changes require the trade union to better perform its role and become a representative force with sufficient capability, courage, and modern methods to protect workers in the new environment. Instead of relying on traditional movements, during the next term, the trade union will adopt a more comprehensive approach that places workers at the center and takes action at the grassroots level. The trade union will use dialogue and collective bargaining to protect workers early, right from the policy-making process and law enforcement oversight. At the same time, digital transformation, science, technology, and innovation will serve as driving forces to improve operational efficiency. A new era for the trade union must also be a new era for grassroots unions. This mindset requires trade union officials to closely engage with workers' daily lives. Vice President of the Vietnam General Confederation of Labor, Ngo Zio, said the Congress has received tens of thousands of opinions and recommendations from workers nationwide.
Các vấn đề mà đoàn viên người lao động rất là quan tâm, ví dụ như là
workers are deeply concerned about raising the minimum wage to a living wage, which is a very legitimate aspiration. A living wage means workers will have savings, so that when they face unexpected difficulties, they have additional financial resources to solve problems. A second issue is reducing working hours, which has been reflected in the National Assembly's resolution since 2019. A third issue is lowering the retirement age for certain groups of workers, especially those working in demanding and hazardous occupations. And another issue is public holidays.
The draft documents for the 14th Congress of the Vietnam Trade Union for the 2026-2031 term set a target of expanding increasing union membership by at least 4 million members. To achieve this challenging target, the trade union has identified 2 breakthrough spearheads. The first is conquering the digital space. As workers increasingly use the internet to seek information and express their thoughts and concerns, the trade union must establish its presence online to support, guide, and protect workers from misinformation. The second spearhead is promoting productivity to improve welfare. The trade union is aiming to encourage workers to study and master technology in order to become digital workers. To this end, the organization plans to help workers improve their qualifications, secure long-term employment, and adapt to technological changes. Emulation movements will be elevated, linking skilled labor with high productivity and good income. The new mindset of the trade union in the 2026-2031 term aims to build a modern organization with greater adaptive capacity to serve the workers, a trade union that maintains its socio-political role under the leadership of the party while remaining dynamic in a market economy that cares for workers' lives and helps them improve their capabilities, that protects their rights and interests, and inspires creativity, dedication, and responsibility in national development. Welcome to VOV's Letterbox. We're Fontaine at Green, and we're delighted to be here going through the thoughtful messages you sent us over the past week. How have you been, dear listeners, in so many different parts of the world? Wherever you are, we hope you are staying safe and healthy amid the extreme weather conditions being reported across the globe.
In recent weeks, unusually high temperatures and severe heat waves have continued to make headlines in many countries. Much of Western Europe is currently suffering through an intense heat wave stretching from the UK and Ireland through Germany and France all the way down to Spain and Italy.
Our listeners in India also told us that they are struggling with severe early summer heat waves.
And speaking of hot weather, Chris Smallberg of Canada wrote to us, quote, "Hopefully it's not hot over there in Hanoi yet," unquote.
Oh, Chris, if only that were true. Hanoi and actually most parts of Vietnam are already deep into summer weather now.
These days, the average temperature across the country ranges from 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, and in some cities, it can feel even hotter during the daytime. Northern and central Vietnam just experienced two widespread heat waves in May, with temperatures ranging from 36 to 39 degrees Celsius and exceeding 40 degrees Celsius in some areas.
The National Weather Center predicts that El Niño is likely to develop from June through August. Under its impact, temperatures nationwide are expected to rise around 0.5 to 1.5 degrees Celsius, higher than the multi-year average. The likelihood of new record high temperatures is also increasing.
It's definitely scorching over here already, Chris, but we're doing well and enjoying the lively spirit of summer in Vietnam. Bright sunshine, blue skies after sudden showers, iced tea on street corners, and lots of seasonal fruits.
Summer is the best season for tropical fruits in Vietnam, with many popular varieties such as lychee, mango, longan, durian, rambutan, and dragon fruits.
Last week, we talked about some of the best-known varieties of lychee in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And today, we turn to another favorite tropical fruit, mango, to answer a question from Shivanupal of India, who asked, quote, "How popular is mango in Vietnam, and how many varieties of mango are there?" unquote.
Well, mangoes are grown in many parts of Vietnam, especially in the southern provinces where the tropical climate is ideal for cultivation. And Vietnam has dozens of mango varieties, and several are especially well known.
One of the most famous is Cat Hoa Lộc mango from Tiền Giang province, known for its fragrant aroma, smooth texture, and sweet taste. Another popular variety is Cát Chu mango, widely grown in Đông Tháp province. It has bright yellow flesh and a balanced sweetness.
That's right. And in recent years, green-skinned mango varieties such as scale mango have also become very popular because it can be eaten both ripe and unripe. We enjoy mangoes in many ways. Eaten fresh, blended into smoothies, served with sticky rice desserts, dried as snacks, or even eaten green with chili salt and fish sauce.
According to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, fresh Vietnamese mangoes are exported to around 40 countries and territories, including China, the largest importer of Vietnamese mangoes, as well as the U.S., South Korea, Japan, Australia, and several European countries.
Vietnam exports a wide variety of fresh fruits around the world, and we really hope that our listeners will share with us which Vietnamese fruits you have tasted and what you think of them.
Well, before we continue to read letters from other listeners, let's enjoy a very special and cheerful song that has attracted millions of views online. South African musician David Scott, better known by his stage name The Kiffness, created a unique musical collaboration with Auntie Mai, a Vietnamese fruit vendor in Nha Trang Beach.
Inspired by a video filmed by a tourist named Louis in 2025, Scott transformed the woman's rhythmic flute-selling calls into a catchy melody called Mango, Pineapple, Banana, Watermelon.
Later, Louis returned to Nha Trang to find a woman featured in the video. He shared with her the first earnings from the song and played the remix version created from her own street calls. Let's listen to it now.
Hello, is it me you're looking for? Mango, pineapple, banana, watermelon.
The Kiffness, Mango, Pineapple, Banana, Watermelon, featuring Auntie Mai. You're listening to the Letterbox on VOV. Now we'll continue to share reception reports and feedback from our listeners.
Dinglu of Jiangsu Province, China, sent a reception report for our broadcast on February the 1st on the frequency 9840 kHz and 12020 kHz. He rated the receptions as ordinary with slight noise and gave a simple rating of 43444 and 4s. Yeah, he noted that the reception quality improved significantly after the program switched to 9835 kHz.
On International Children's Day, June the 1st, Mr. Ding extended his greetings to all Vietnamese children and those of the English service staff.
Thank you, Mr. Ding, for your detailed report on our program and your kind wishes on International Children's Day. We also wish you an early happy birthday on June the 18th and hope that you will have a joyful celebration with your family and friends.
I'm reading a letter from Ashok Kumar Bose, a 70-year-old shortwave listener since 1973. He tuned into VOV broadcasts on 7220 kHz while visiting Kolkata, India, on February the 6th. The overall reception that day was good and audible, although there was fairly strong atmospheric noise and frequent interference, he reported.
It's always a pleasure to hear from our long-time shortwave listeners like you, Mr. Bose, and we are grateful for your continued interest and support for VOV.
Here we have some very interesting feedback from Seiji Hattori, a 66-year-old listener from Gifu City, Japan. He sent a reception report after tuning into VOV's English broadcast on May the 30th from 11:30 to 12 UTC on a frequency of 12020 kHz.
He reported stable reception with strong signals, slight static, and minor fading, giving mostly 55444 and 55544 simple ratings. The program included news on Vietnam's foreign relations, technology and AI, coffee production in the Central Highlands, Buddhism in Vietnam, and a music segment featuring songs by Tung Dương and Thanh Quý.
What's interesting about Mr. Hattori's listening experience is that he often uses computer translation software to understand English broadcasts, and was pleased that a good signal quality allowed the software to translate much of the content directly. Quote, my computer's translation software won't translate unless the overall reception level is 4 or higher. Also, it hardly responds at all if the noise level is 3 or lower, unquote, Mr. Hattori said.
And if the noise is strong or the signal is weak, he listens to the streaming broadcast on the VOB World website and confirm the program content.
Mr. Hattori, it seems you are quite a tech-savvy listener, as you really enjoy combining traditional shortwave listening with advanced technology. It's fascinating to hear how you use translation software together with radio reception to better understand international broadcasts.
And we are pleased to confirm that your reception details match our station log. A verification card will be sent to you soon.
We are glad to thank Hayato Furukawa of Nagasaki City of Japan for his reception report after listening to VOV's program on May the 1st on 12020 kHz with a simple rating of all floors. We are delighted to know that the signal reached you clearly.
And another regular Japanese listener, Fumito Hokamura, also reported that the reception on the frequency of 12020 kHz was quite good, allowing them to follow most of the program content on May the 9th.
Thank you, dear listeners around the world, for your feedback and your loyal involvement with the Voice of Vietnam. Many more letters and reception reports have reached us, but due to time constraints, we are unable to share them all on today's Letterbox program.
We'll certainly send verification cards to you soon. Please keep writing to us and sharing your listening experiences and thoughts about our programs.
And now a quick update for our listeners across Europe. Please be advised that beginning June 1st, our shortwave frequency to Europe from 16 to 22 UTC has changed from 9730 kHz to 9840 kHz. Again, from 9730 kHz to 9840 kHz.
All right, and that's all for today's edition of The Letterbox. We are Nhật Quyên Phương Thanh, saying goodbye to you all.